think, do you know what? You know me, I love a coach. I love a coach. I like man-to-man managers. I like people that can put their arm around the shoulder and say, listen, you know what? Stick with me. I'm going to make you better. And if we actually look at this Crystal Palace team, I think he's made so many of them better. So many of them better. They're a well-functioning, well-oiled, well-drilled football team. And when we talk about, we've got players that say, oh, well, we lost Kane. It's like, well, sure, but other teams lose their version of Kane. Crystal Palace lost Michael Olise in the summer, who was a huge player for them. Crystal Palace lost Joachim Andersen. Crystal Palace in the January window lost Chalobah, who they thought they had all year on loan. And managers like him, managers like Frank that loses Watkins and Tony and Raya, they find solutions. They coach. They find solutions with players that might not be as sexy, if you will, might not be as well known. Silva's another one. Lost Mitrovic, who was their Kane, if that makes sense. He was their goal scorer. They find solutions.
Paulinha.
And Paulinha. And they lost Anderson before he went back.
Would you take Paulinha, by the way, this summer? Sorry, not to get off the topic, but
he's out of favour at Bayern.
He's not. He's leaving Bayern at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Like Bayern Munich owe us money. Would you say keep Matisse Tell? We'll take Paulinha instead.
That if you turn around and said, right, keep the Kane money, we're going to have Paulinha straight away, we're getting 15 to 20 points more next season because we've got a proper top number 6
100%.
Who knows the Premier League.
100%.
There you go.
100%. So, I'm a fan of Batista. I know no one else is. I like. I said this other day on my show with you. I don't know how to justify it other than I feel it.
If you like him, you like him.
Yeah, I like him. But I don't. But the stats don't support my narrative. So I hear the argument is difficult to sell. But there's something about him. But I also take on board the fact that we do have a lot of options in that regard. Johnny keeps banging on about Manor Solomon. He wants to see Manor Solomon back. I don't know about Manor Solomon. I don't think, he's like, yeah, but he scored 20 goals, 20 GA in the I was like, yeah, the championship, right? The championship. He's like, no, he got 2 assists for Tottenham against Burnley. I was like, yeah, they were a team that were in the championship that came up and went straight back down again. So there's levels to this game. But anyway.
I think there's a lot of other factors at play with, I don't want to get into it, but there's a lot of other factors at play with Solomon. And let's be fair, Daniel, this is a dream for Daniel Levy and any chairman, if we're going to be brutally honest, bringing a player on a free. And 2 years later, if Leeds come in and go 18, 20 million.
Yeah.
And I've got nothing wrong with that, by the way. I won't have a go at Levy for that because that is pure profit.
Yeah.
That's good 100%. Business. But you're right, Sean. If Spurs if you turn around and said to me, right, Xavi is coming in, for example, I say from Barcelona, he's free. If Xavi comes in and you said, right, Xavi, the first player we're giving you is Paulinha, right?
Yeah.
Xavi comes from the school of thought where every team has that guy that sits at the base 100%. And he played with Busquets. He did it himself. He played with Pep. He's played with Marcos Senna for Spain, right? Xavi will go, brilliant. Okay, I've got that guy. I can work with Bergvall. He's a really good technical player. I only need one more, or I might make Maddison that. Straight away, you go, that looks nice. That looks balanced.
Paulinha transforms Tottenham.
I agree.
Transforms, because our midfield stinks at the moment with the square pegs and round holes in a system that doesn't make sense anyway. But it doesn't matter. People going, well, you can't make any signings until you know who the manager is. I'm like, well, there are certain positions that I don't give a shit who the manager is. We need to improve on. And a 6 has been that role since before Conte. We haven't had a 6 that's been good enough. Højbjerg was the last one that was competent, but even if Højbjerg had an extra half a yard of pace, he would have been top draw. But he didn't, so he wasn't.
Look, Paulinha has played 17 Bundesliga games this season and 24 in all competitions. I would bring him in, stick him in front of a back 4, and straight away, just imagine. I'll tell you what, imagine how happy the back 4 will be, and they go, "Oh, we signed Paulinha."
God, yeah.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
100%.
It would be amazing. But again, the Ange philosophy doesn't allow for an out-and-out number 6. So for me, I agree with you, but I've said all along, I think Paratici is already signed, sealed and delivered. I think he is probably talking to, I reckon a manager is probably done or nearly done. and I reckon they're probably talking to players. I reckon they're drawing up a shortlist. Even if you say to Bayern, you know, give us Paulinha on loan for a year with an option to buy, or you know, for me, transforms Tottenham. Transforms Tottenham.
There's a I was doing this show earlier, and we were looking at defensive midfielders, right? And I landed on it. There's a player that's, I think, will be all over the transfer links this summer. Where is he? Samuel Ricky at Torino, right? 23 years old, so he fits the profile. A DM, so he's what we need. He's a really, really good player. And obviously with the Paratici links in Italy and Torino and all that stuff, there's that as well. And on top of that, guess who's his agent?
Someone like Paratici's friend.
CAA base, right? Which Tottenham have got like, 20 players on. So to me, I think if we're looking for a DM this year, like Samuel Ricky will be all over and he should be. He's a good player. I take him. He's 23 as well, right? So he's like one that fits the profile. But in terms of like, just you've got money, you don't have money, we're cash poor. Bayern owe us a fortune. We've already got 5 wingers. If someone said to me, like, Sean, do you like Matisse Tell? Yes. Would you rather have Matisse Tell or would you rather have Paulinha? All day long, go and get me Paulinha, right?
Absolutely.
And then that's it. And that doesn't. You can do that now, by the way, because he's got a house in London already. He didn't sell when he left Fulham, right? So he knows London. He's got a base here. He's got friends here, no doubt. To me, it just makes so much sense, and it improves us exponentially. And you can make a deal with Bayern so that there's no cash that needs to change hands or very little. And then all you got to do is go and figure out, what do you do in the, with one, obviously a fullback you need, and then, forgetting about Romero for a second, and then you just need either an all-round forward or a 9 like a Jonathan David, and that's a really, really good start to the transfer business. And you don't need a director of football to make that happen. You don't need a new manager. Like every manager would rather have Paulinha than what we currently have.
I just don't think Ange would. I think Ange wouldn't. Do you know what? I don't think it's that Ange would.
Do you actually think what percentage chance do you give to Ange for being here next year?
No. I agree. I give him 1%. But what I'm talking about is in general. I think that Ange, if he was given a Paulinha, wouldn't know what to do with him because Ange wants everybody hectic, running around like crazy. Paulinha is going to go, I don't do that. That's not my game. I've seen this Samuel Ricky play, and I'll tell you what, this is, again, take this with a pinch of salt, but under his style of play on Wikipedia, I like what I hear. I've seen him play only once or twice, but it says Ricky is a right-footed player, mainly deployed as a playmaker in front of the defence or as a midfielder. Gifted with excellent individual technique and sense of positioning, he is regarded as one of the most important prospects in Italian football. His reference model is Andrea Pirlo.
Wow.
Again, I think that's a dying art. Listen, and we always use Rodri as the reference, which is bad because Rodri is the best player in world football, in my opinion. But you need a bloke. And Liverpool have almost made Gravenberch that this year, right?
Yep.
Chelsea have got Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez that kind of do a little bit of that. You've got to have one. You've got to have one, and not one of ours is a defensive midfielder. I don't want to hear that Bentancur is. Basuma's not. Star is not. We need an out-and-out guy, Sean, who up there senses danger.
Yeah, 100%.
Up there, not putting out fires, senses it before it's a fire.
Yep.
I want him putting out the matches, if you know what I mean. I want.
He's not the fire extinguisher; he's the fire alarm.
Mate,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I remember watching Paulinha at Fulham, just thinking, you make it look really easy. He made it look really simple. And I'm a bit surprised, to be honest, that Bayern Munich haven't played him more. But, hey, they've won the league, and what can you say?
They've just signed Josh Kimmich on a new 5-year deal, haven't they, as well?